welcome to the Álamos History Association's last meeting of the year. It's our general meeting. We're going to be doing a bunch of wonderful things. But first, let me introduce our president, Pamela Price, to welcome you to this meeting. And she is going to introduce our guest speaker. Pam?
Okay. Well, thank you, Barbara. As town, Álamos means different things to different people. An undeniable attraction is the historic district with 17th, 18th, and 19th century buildings. What helps to create community in the town are its institutions. And as an important institution for many of us, the El Museo Costumbrista del Estado de Sonora is there. Our speaker today, Tony Estrada, was the head of the museum from its inception and has made it accessible for many different groups in Sonora and beyond. An accomplished artist himself, Tony has supported creative endeavors of others, opening the museum space for exhibitions, for musical performances, for meetings. The History Association has benefited greatly from this generosity of spirit. And as a token of our appreciation of Tony's leadership, we are granting him lifetime membership in the AHA. A certificate to this effect will follow when board member Errol Zimmerman returns to Álamos. Errol is the person in the AHA who perhaps has worked closest with Tony. He will now say a few words.
Well, thank you very much. And I need Tony to get up front so I can see who I'm talking to. I just want to say that Tony has worked with us at the History Association with so many presentations in the museum, and that we, photo presentations with our photo group Through Each Other's Eyes. Tony has been such a cultural asset to our community, and we all want to thank you, Tony, and we're so interested in hearing what you have to say today. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I want to welcome all of you. I'll try to do my best with my bad English and tell you a few stories about, I'm going to nude myself about my history, my life, and my relationship with the culture in town. To start, okay, I was born up in the mountains in Chihuahua, a place where there were nothing. 1959, no planes, no cars, nothing. Just horses or small planes to travel, to move from that place to other cities. And my father used to work in agriculture during the season, but most of the time he used to spend his time in Chihuahua or Sonora doing construction. So most of the time we were alone with my mama, which she used to teach us, I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but to teach how to read and write before we went into the school. That was a kind of tradition or custom in that little town that mamas used to teach the students before they go to school. So, but I started school when I was at primary school, when I was little old, 8 years old, but I already know many things about the primary school. Anyway, my life is very simple. I was 8 years when I came to Álamos. I was 8 more years, I was in the public library. 8 more years, I was in the museum. And now, 38 years, I am out from the museum. So at the beginning, when I arrived town, I found this beautiful place, and a child came out to the plaza and explore around and check, and I really got surprised that I really love it when I found a place where Beth Newsom had a workshop for children on Saturdays. That was one important thing. Then on the steps, the portales, every Saturday were a trio over there, music for everybody. Or sometimes on the gazebo, used to be a band, a big group playing. So I think I started very well in town. Then I found that a lot of young people used to get together on the portal from Adolfo Blay, which now is the hotel over there on the Plaza Hotel. They used to get together to hear music, classical music from Adolfo Blay. Sometimes Adolfo Blay, the owner of that place and the owner of the building, what is now the museum, he used to play the piano. So a lot of young people get together over there to hear. That was another something important for me that I got that these young people are sensitive to accept that kind of music, classical music. So, and then I found that many things were happening in town. We had foreigners already. Beth Newsom was a very important person in town. She was like my godmother too. I'm going to tell you later about few people who made my life. That's why I'm telling you that I'm new myself, telling you stories about it, and then I'm going to tell how I became in the library, how I became in the museum, and just taking opportunities. And I think always that young people, I can talk to young people about this, and this thing would be like an example for young people how to not lost the opportunities. Yeah? When I start to well, while I was in primary school, my mama used to make obras de teatro at home and put together with children around and make them to perform and make them to put seats and then invite all of us to sit and hear what they did. So she was very creative. I think that mentality, that way from her, I got it, and also from my father. So when I say the opportunities, I'm going to tell about one guy who was a mayor in town, Professor Jesus Gil Vega. He was the mayor, and we were I was in secondary school. So we had to do some kind of investigation about some subject. So we had to find information, and I knew somebody told me that in the city hall were a library, but that library was closed. It seems like in 1968, libraries were created in Sonora, but in Álamos they inaugurated library and they closed it, never opened. Actually, this mayor told me since I became a mayor, we never opened this room. So he said, okay, I have the key. I'm going to give you the key to you and go and check if you can find something. He gave me the key. I went into the library, which it was in the second floor upstairs, and I found nothing. A lot of termites, spiders, tables broke, chairs, and everything was contaminated. Nothing was good. So I came back to him and I told him that, sorry, I couldn't find anything. There's nothing good in the library. So he said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. So he took the key into his desk, and then I said, bye-bye, bye-bye. When I was coming out from his office, he told me, hey, young man, come. Do you think we can give life to this spot, this library? And I said, I think so. Yes. So that was the best opportunity because that was the first time the doors were open for me. That was when I started, really. So he went into his desk and he gave me the key. I was with that key for 8 years. Wow. 8 years. So during that time, I was working already with Beth Newsom, Florence Messer, Genoveva Reynolds, who else? Can't remember who else, but Beth Newsom, of course. They were looking for a place to have a library. So I talked to them. I said, I got the place. I got the place. So, and then they start to collect books and to do all the arrangement to fix and put new furniture. So that's the way we start with the library and start to bring a lot of people. And we used to give little talks every Saturday because she used to have house and garden tour. And the last part, it was in the library where they went for coffee for the last moment. And I participated a little bit in Spanish, a little bit in English. I was learning. So that was the way we start with the library. And one thing that I remember is that I always loved art books. I think when I was up in Chihuahua, I remember that I used to go out of my house and see the sky in the night, lots of stars beautifully, and dream about something else. I mean, that was not my place to stay there. So, and when I came to Alamo, things became so beautifully, and for me, a good condition of life here to do what I wanted to do. Yeah. And then also in the library, we used to have one desk to invite students who already finished secondary school. As normally, all students were in a hurry to finish secondary school to go somewhere else to study prep school. So we start prep school with a few people from Álamos too, Mexicans, Americans, Rene Castañeda, and Chela Alcorn, she was involved too. Lorna Costa, she's not here, Lorna? No, but she was very involved in with her husband, Dr. Costa. And so we had a big group, around 40 students, and that's the way how we start the prep school in Alamo. The beginner of the school was where Licha Alcorns live now. We cleaned the place, we painted, and later we had to move from there, and we start building where the Comandancia is, out of town. We start a building, working with our hands, building the room to have our school. Yeah. Finally, the state put attention on Alamo, and somebody pushed, like a Professor Enrique, I think so, who was, when he was the mayor, he promoted to open the real Cobach. Prep school was incorporated also to Cobach, but finally it became formally for this Cobach that we have now in town. So that was the way how we started, but using also the library. See? And as I said, Elizabeth Newsom, who was my angel, who was like my godmother, I really learned from her a lot of things. She used to pay for me to go to the States and live in Medina, Bellevue, somewhere over there. I met Teresita. Hola, Teresita. And so learning, and my compromise to go to those places were to visit museums and libraries. That was, I had to do a little report about it. And so I spent 2 or 3 months in the States in different places, but learning, educating myself. I didn't have a chance to go to the university because I was so happy in the library. And also, because there were a lot of strikes from the University of Sonora, and I didn't have time to be losing my time there. So I started to learn by myself. And then other people that maybe you know, Edith Pratt, and her husband, Carlos Pratt Benson. I used to get with him to hear opera when I was a child. I love it. I remember that we spent 2 or 3 hours, and he used to put records, you know, because in those times they used records to hear the opera. So few records to hear one opera, like Carmen. And I spent a lot of time with him, learning and absorbing, you know, getting sensitive myself to accept that kind of expressions of art. So the other thing that happened, how I came into the museum and how we started the festival. Also, Beth Newsom had to do in this part. While she was in the States, I used to go for meeting because she was the head of the library. She was the presidenta from the committee. And so when she was not in town, I used to attend her invitation. So I didn't get an invitation to start the museum. And this program was in the city hall when they announced that inviting people to go into the museum, to the Palacio for the first reunion to talk about the Álamos Museum. They announced that they had the building already, and they announced that they had good plans for Álamos, but they needed somebody who wanted to who loved art, who loved the culture, who really loved Álamos. And the mayor said, "Oh, I have somebody." Was not me. Was a girl. But the way I went into the city hall is because I took Beth's invitation, and because I didn't get an invitation, I went with this invitation. I said, "I'm representing Beth Newsom." "Oh, come and sit over there." That's the way. That was the other opportunity that I took. So, and then they started to say that they wanted somebody to go to Mexico City to get involved in museums at the Universidad Autónoma de México, to spend a few months down there and learn all about museums. And the mayor said, "Okay, I have this person." And these people said, "Okay, that's okay. I mean, we recognize what you said, but also can be 2 persons, not just 1. In that moment, they decided that because I knew these people who came from Hermosillo, I had a relationship with them with the libraries, so they knew me. And then they said, okay, you are offering, or how do you say, proponiendo this girl. So we are proponiendo Tony Estrada. They both can go to Mexico City. Oh, so that was the best for me. So I went down to Mexico. We spent a few months there learning at the university. And you know what? It's kind of interesting because those guys in Mexico are teachers, very brilliant people. They used to tell me, Estrada, this girl, she's going to be the director of the museum. And I said, okay, that's okay. I mean, I didn't care about it. I just wanted to learn, and I was catching everything. And I was kind of quiet, as always, I am kind of quiet and a little shy. So when we came to Sonora, the museum got open November 10th, and I already was working there, but I was just like a simple worker over there, doing my things. And we used to get Dr. Ocaña, who was the governor of Sonora, used to come very often to supervise the construction, the rehabilitation of this old building. And then when they inaugurate the museum, It was another thing very interesting. We started to collect things to put in the museum. And you know what happened? Lots of people said they didn't want to do it because before used to come people from a museum to talk about museums. They used to talk pieces and they never came back to pieces. So people, when they announced that a museum will be open, they were not very happy to help. But finally, we pushed a little bit and they said, okay, we will help because the government is so in a hurry to open this museum. So what we can do is we will let you use my objects, my objetos with documents that one day after you inaugurate, we will come and get those things back. That was an adventure, really. So we did everything. Most people from Navajo, from Álamos, to help to open this museum, did everything by paper. So it was an adventure, really. So next day, because they saw how formal it was, the opening and things like that, and they saw their pieces, we gave credits to them, to each one, and they loved it. And so they came to say, okay, I think this is a place for my pieces, for my old thing. And they renew documents, and most of them they said, we will donate it to the museum, and some others they say, okay, we will renew new papers for years. They're still there, the objects. Okay, so it was fun. And then when we were collecting things for the museum, we used to go to the communities around because we needed like an old stufa, the leña. We need irons, plancha. And, you know, we went to San Bernardo and it's kind of fun because we found a lot of stuff outside of the house. And we look, oh my God, those things are museum things. And we asked the owners, what about those things that you have outside? Oh, no, it's just things that we put out. We don't need this garbage, they said. Oh, can we take the garbage? Oh, yes, get it. So that's also how we got many things to the museum. And now people put more attention on their old things. They keep it and they give a value to those things. So the museum being important on this, okay? That's the way we start the museum. So this other person, this girl, she was working in, like me in the museum in 1984 because she represents tourism from the state of Sonora, and she had her office in my office. We shared the office, but once in that December 1984, the governor gave instructions to their people to invite me to go to Hermosillo. I went to Hermosillo. They keep me for 3 or 4 days in one hotel until it was out of compromise because he wanted to talk to me, and I was kind of surprised about that. And so, very formal, few people went to pick me up and take me to his office, and they said, he said, I don't know if you know why you are here. I said, no, but I'm so happy. I mean, it's a very honor, you know, to be with the governor. And so he said that he wanted me to explain how could we be sure or how to say, asegurar the future of the museum, giving life to that new spot in Alamo, which it was his creation, you know, his museum, the governor's creation. And so I started to talk to him about everything about programs and how bring people into the museum. We didn't have anything to work because the office was empty, completely empty. So I started to talk about we needed to work. There were no computers. So to do all the lettering, we used to use an engineer table with we call alacran or something, forms to do lettering. So, I was asking for things and somebody was taking notes, and everything I asked, they gave it to me. So and also at the last moment I said, also clips, little things. from the top until the little things. I announced it. He said, but the most important is when I told him about to create activities to promote people to come into the museum, to give life, to be sure that this is useful to people. Because we can have the building, we can have the objects, but if we don't have people, I mean, there's no reason to keep that spot. So I explained to him how to do it. And I talked to him about workshops. And one of the most important I thought that should happen in the museum is to work with children. Start with children. So we start with children. And now those children are adults, professionals, and those guys are the ones who can focus into the museum. Those are the ones who bring their children into the museum. I mean, it was right. Okay. So he said, I'm so happy about, and I accept what you are talking about this new stuff. I like that. So now, do you know why you are here? Well, I think just to tell these things. And he said, no. Okay, one other thing, one more thing. When I was asking, I told him, and also to send invitations and go around and travel to Navajo and do things fast. Maybe the museum will need a little car or something. And he said, oh, put a little bolcho, put a bolchito, a little Volkswagen sedan. Okay. So then when he asked me if I knew why I was there, I said, well, just to talk about this, I think so. And he said, no, not just this. I ordered to my people to bring you here because I'm going to name you as the director of the museum. Oh my God. I said, oh, thank you. And then he said, but you don't get surprised for? Oh, I said, I'm sorry, that's the way I am. I'm not crazy, about this kind of thing. I know it was a big responsibility. So I told him, and he said, oh, you surprised me, really, you surprised me. So they took me from Hermosillo to Álamos to present me to the authorities. And I was kind of shy and embarrassed because I was in middle. Because when they came, they talked to the mayor said, this was not the plan. This was not the plan. And he said that in front of me. Oh my God. So those guys from Museo had to tell the mayor, sorry, Señor Presidente, the instructions from the government are not for no discussion about. And I was in the middle of them there. So finally, they gave instructions to me what they wanted me to do in the museum. I had to put out somebody that the government didn't like. He said, I don't want religious things on the walls. And I had the picture of Fray Antonio de los Reyes, the first bishop of Sonora. So I had to take down that photo for a little while. He came during his 91 years, he came to Álamos, the old governor, and he saw the museum. He was happy. And the picture was there, he didn't say anything. So that was in December 1984. That December, I had to make the program for next year, the whole program. I didn't know anything about accounting. I didn't know anything about administration. I had to learn by myself. And I could not ask the professional people in town because if I was getting this position for this museum, supposedly I know about it, but I didn't. So I had to learn by myself, and but it came okay. So in this program, the new program for the new year, 1985, the first program that we announced was to celebrate Alfonso Ortiz Tirado. To have a celebration, and January 24, because is his birthday. So we were celebrating 92 years from his birth. Okay. But there's also one person very important in this thing, Ana Silvia Laborín. I don't know if somebody of you know Ana Silvia. He was el corazón of the museum too. Now she lives in Hermosillo. She's retired. She's mi comadre, my daughter's godmother. So we are in good connections, you know. And so everything that I presented for this 1985 was approved from her. So that's why when I talk about the beginning of the museum, it's not just Tony Estrada, it's also Ana Silvia Laborín and the authorities who were in that time, you know, because everybody puts their heart to start this important program. Okay? And then we had one pianist, Rito Emilio Salazar, and one girl, Elsa Limon, a singer, and some exhibitions in the museum. Next year, we had the same program. Other years, we had different programs until 1988. That was the last program in the museum, because then the government put attention on this program. The state of Sonora considered that this was a good program, so they took out from the museum and made one big night in the city hall named Remembranzas from Alfonso Ortiz Tirado. A guy, Arturo Torreros, a tenor from San Ignacio Coahuilimpo, performed, and Lupita Moreno de Valenzuela, a pianist from Navojoa. Those people were the ones who started this program in the Palacio. But also we include art exhibition in the museum, and we had the first Callejoneada with a group that I started a few years before. Was not Estudiantina, was Alson, mean Álamos Sonora. It was a group of 40 young people and children, musicians. But then next year, 1990, we made a proposal to the governor. That was Rodolfo Felix Valdez and Antonio Ortiz Mena, family from relative from Alfonso Ortiz Tirado. He used to be the head of Banco Nacional de Mexico. So those important people were in town when I proposed to make an Estudiantina, and they said, "Great, yes, let's do it." The governor said, "I'm going to put the instruments," and Antonio Ortiz Mena said, "Okay, I'm going to put the costume." But that was great news, you know. So they asked me to make a list of what they needed, and so I did, and I sent it to the governor, and the governor sent the instruments kind of quickly, and then from Mexico came two guys to measure the guys. In that time, I had not children, just young people and adult people, but there were around 20 in that time, 1990. So they get the measure for the costume. And 2 months later, big boxes came from Mexico City. And so with the names of each one, and you know what happened? When we start to take out and give it to each one, and they saw the way was this costume, many of my people from Estudiantina, they gone. They didn't like it. Because they said, how am I going to use this short pant with sacks and with this thing? I mean, they thought it was not correct. So many went, but the ones who stayed and accepted, those were the ones who pushed others to do it. And now it's a big honor. Everybody wants to wear this costume. When they go to the plaza, when they go to the market with their costume, I mean, they feel full, you know. And still Estudiantina is on because it's music, it's live, it's love for everybody. Yeah. Okay, so that was the way we start with this festival. And then in 1990, 1991 or 1992, I can't remember exactly, the governor and the city of Álamos signed papers to make the festival for 9 nights and give to go on, not to stop. So they signed it by paper. So that was very important. And after that, it was for 3 nights, 5 nights, until 9 nights. Until the way they made it international. And you know the rest of the story about this festival, the way how it is. It's been up and it's been going down, kind of difficult with all these young people who come to Álamos to drink, and I was suffering myself, seeing my baby go out to, for parties, and that wasn't not the objective of this festival, and it's not also the objective of to put those big groups, popular groups. Is not. The festival is canto operístico, dedicated to the canto operístico, the opera. So that's the main objective of this festival. Okay, but even giving a lot of good things for town. It brings money to the town. Lots of people really get good health, and it's like the Christmas on that time for Álamos people. Okay, so let me get that. I'm going to tell you another story that maybe will be interesting. Not everything in life is so beautiful. There are also things that cannot climb another step. 1985, beginning the 1986, the museum got broke. Somebody went into the museum and went into the coins and took 26 Álamos coins, silver coins, and that was exactly in one Monday. In one Monday, when I was not in the museum, I was with my family, my mama, my papa, and Edith Pratt. We went to ask Lupita's hand to be my wife. She was my secretary. Okay. So this guy took advantage, and he went into the museum and took this coin. It was a big problem. I mean, because it was a new institution from the government. And what happened? Lots of judiciales from the state of Sonora came to Álamos, and they were investigating all the people who came into the museum on Sunday from Sinaloa, from Baja California, from Chihuahua, from Sonora. All they went around to look for them and check their huellas digitales. They didn't find anything. 3 or 4 days, they came to me and said, Señor Estrada, we feel so sorry, but this is very delicate, and we cannot find anything. And I was going to be in jail if nobody appeared. Yes, and they told me that because all the huellas digitales details from us were not over the museum. See? Yeah, and so I know I keep carefully, but when they told me that inside, oh my God, I say, why I'm going to be in jail? But that's the way they used to do things. They catch somebody and they it's culpable. So, and here is another person very important in my life, Father Charles Carpenter. See? He still talk about this story. I start to think about my people, my workers, my friends. I'm normally, I keep little distance. I don't go out very much. I am kind of close to my job and my house and my Walama and the things I do. I don't go to parks, really, big parks, no. I don't go on the street with friends, no. I'm guilty on that. So I checked the friends that I have relationship with, and I said, oh, no, 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 no. It's not possible. Nobody can do this. But I had one guy in the museum who used to work doing theater, actuation. He was an architect. He was a very nice person. He used to be studying at Monasterio de Fatima. So he a nice person. And he used to come with me to Sonora because also I'm not just participate to create this museum. I participate to create el Museo de los Yaques, Museo de los Series, Paya de Quino, Plutarco y Calles en Guaymas, Silvestre Rodríguez en Acosari, and I helped a little bit with the jail in Cananea, in Guatabampo and Abojoa. So I participate in several museums. So from the state, they told me, please bring this guy to help. He can help us. So we spent in one big room nights, and we never find nothing from him. He was a good person for us. But after we finished with these museums in Sonora, they gave it to him a position to be in charge of the museum in Obregón, for the Yaqui, because they thought he was the right person. Okay, so they picked him, not me. The thing is that once he said, Tony, why we don't change our position? Come to Obregón and live in Obregón and give me a chance to be in Álamos Museum. I like this, he said, me gusta esta, well, this spot. I like this spot. And to me, when I hear this, I was quiet. I said, oh my God. I don't know the word, but the word is in Espanol, pretencioso. I think it was very pretencioso, his proposal, and I really like really. So I was quiet. So it happened a few years, and after this thing happened with me in the museum, I remember what he told me, and I said, I'm going to the Monasterio de Fatima and ask Father Charles why he was out from the school. And Father Charles told me, Tony, I was ready to go and talk to you. Because this guy is the one who broke into the museum. Oh my God. And I said, okay, Father, I just came to ask you why. And he told me that this guy, he was in charge of accounting and things like that. And he did bad things, like he used to consume pastillas or drugs or things like that, or something like that. So they put him out from the monasterio. But Álamos people who know about it, and Álamos people always very quiet on that, especially if it's religious thing, they keep quiet. And they never told us about this guy. So I talked to Father Carlos and I said, will you really want to help me? I said, yes, tell me what to do. Okay, what about if I make an appointment with you and the authorities from the state in one neutral place? So we did an edit house in one room. They were over there for 2 hours with this policeman from the state. And when they came out, they went to talk to me to the museum. And they said, congratulations, you did the investigation. Yes, I did, really. So they told me, okay, we appreciate what you've been doing, the way you've been acting very carefully. We want you to go on like this week. We will be following this guy. And they did. And they told me, this weekend, he's going to come to Álamos. He had a girlfriend here. So he used to come and always invite me to go for a coffee, for a nieve or something. And so, and the policeman didn't know. And they told me, he will come and he will invite you. And maybe he will invite Lupita, who was my girlfriend and my secretary. So he got broke on Monday. And then he came on Sunday. He went many places as always. and a lot. He was kind of surprised. Always he found the same people at the same place where he was. They were looking for him. So on Monday, in very early in the morning, they catch him in Obregon with some drug exchange, something. So they catch him. They took him to Alamos to declare. He declared. They went back to Obregon to pick the coins. Came in the morning. In the morning, they called me to bring my inventory. An inventory that I in that time I didn't check it. I didn't know really how many coins were in that collection. So, but I found them really 26 coins, silver coin, 8 reales were out. So I went to the police and they had all the coins. I signed papers and everything came into the museum. And this guy went to the jail. Okay. So that was this bad story from the museum. The rest are wonderful. I think so. Well, but you know, during the years, we've been having lots of new programs in town, like the old car show. Maybe some of you know about it. This is, it happened always already in February. Always is the second Sunday of February. And it's a very fun family meeting. And on this time, it was very nice organized. And cars from 1983 from the back. We put order on this because before it used to come new cars and everybody wanted to come to Alamos. And they said, Tony, we want to go to Alamos with our car, which is 1985 or 9 or etc. And I said, I mean, you can come to Alamos, there's no problem, but not to the plaza where the show is. And also you cannot, because everybody has to register. And we keep record on them and the name of the car and the date. So it was very successful. And so during 23 years, we've been doing this. Okay? And we are participating also in the different activities that the city does. And now that I am not in charge of the museum, anyway, you will see me around. As I told my superiors, when I die, I will be like a ghost in town. Yeah, because this is my life. But something happened that I want to announce to you also, that I was kind of surprised, and they announced that they wanted my daughter in. You know Mesli, some of you know Mesli. She is the head of Cultura de Álamos from the city. So the state, not me. When they told me, I said, no, I'm sorry. I cannot promote or saying that I want my family in. And I didn't want it because I know the responsibility. But they told me from the state of Sonora, we want to give this job to Mesli, your daughter. So, and I said, well, the other thing is that you have to ask her if she wants. I'm not going to tell her anything. I'm not going to announce to her. You will announce to her and you will ask if she wants or not. And it was not easy for her because she works at the prep school. She works at a school in Obregon and in the city also with this cultural direction. So he has to quit all those jobs and become to the museum, and she's going to take position on the beginning of this coming month. And that's it. But I hope I said what I had to say, and told you story of my life really in town. And I want to thank Aaron Zimmerman and the people who are in this association. And thanks to the Álamos foreigners, the community. I don't know if you have a question.
Yes.
When did you start making your art?
Oh, okay, art. Oh, that's another thing that I forgot to tell you. Well, as I told you that when I was in the library, I just loved art books. And also, with all these things that happen in town, it's like a tormenta or that involve us, to draw us in. So I became involved in this with three reasons. One, as normally when we order work to the people who to do fences and doors and things like that, they never do those things on time for us. They do for the foreigners who pay in quickly. So, and I was kind of mad about it. I said, I'm going to get my own machine and I'll work on, and I will learn how to do it. So I started, but I burned half of the wires from the house. I got few chops. I didn't only think about electricity, but later I learned it. So, but when I start to make a protection for my house, I didn't like it really. But I got little pieces of iron and started to put together. I feel it that I was getting in touch with, So that was one reason. The other, we had a workshop in the museum with a skeleton for the Day of the Dead. The other thing was the children's, and they started to ask me, hey, Tony, when are you going to start your skeleton? They were doing small things, and I said, I would like to do something big, huge. And I said, later I'm going to work on it. So then I went to, how do you call it? Mechanic to get pieces. And I started to put together and make two big skeletons. I started that. And the other was somebody, Luisa McPherson, my friend Luisa. She pushed me also. She asked me, can you make a horse? I said, well, I never made horses, but maybe I can do it. So I started to do it, the first horse, because she pushed me. Thank you, Luisa. So that's why I say opportunities. I'm not lost the opportunities. And I really thank the foreigners, the community that they push and help people. And I appreciate that. Okay? Yeah.
Are you done with that comment?
Yes, sure.
Diane Carpenter said you were part of the exchange to Alaska, and that it really impacted your life. On the same thing about going to Alaska.
Well, yes, that's another thing that really helps a lot of to the students in Álamos. We had a group of Eskimo people who came to Álamos. We were in school and we had good relationship with them, and we feel very nice. And then she moved a group from Álamos when I was in prep school, and I was the leader of the students in prep school, and good relationship. So they picked me to be part of this group to go to Alaska with Diana Carpenter, and we study. Yes. So we went to Bethel, Alaska, 80 miles south of the Bering Strait. For us, an experience like this, it was marvelous. All the world, completely very nice. We love people. We spend beautiful time. We spend the time when the sun not went out. We had little light, 24 hours. Yeah. So, but we had classes on English. We had classes of typing and office things like that. And we did little work also. We make little money, and we spent beautiful time with them, visiting a museum, enjoying our relationship with the guys, the parents who receive us in the house. So it was a really nice experience. And I think this kind of exchange program helped a lot to the people, to the young people in town, to open their minds. That's what we need, really, to have experience in other places. When I was already the director of this museum, I organized one trip to Alaska, to Bethel, and I brought a group of folkloric for the Chamay Dance Festival that's happening in Bethel, and we had a marvelous experience bring this folkloric dance over there. Yes.
Talk about the time you took these
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. When was that? 96, I think so. Yeah, with the Estudiantina also, we have good trips out of the country, like Indio, Monterrey, San Francisco, Napa, Berkeley, Limor, Cayucos, and for 50 or 20 days. And this is thanks to Pachanon and other foreigners who really help us. How do you call this wine? Can't remember the name of this business, from Napa. But they help a lot to support Camus, yeah, to support this trip. Yeah, that was. Other question?
What was the name of the governor that helped you set up the museum?
Samuel Ocaña. Samuel Ocaña Garcia. Yeah, he used to be a mayor in Navajo, and he opened a university in La Sierra, and he's still in life. He's 91 years old. But this guy, he did a lot for culture in Sonora. Books, publications. He opened Colegio Sonora, Palacio Administrativo. He opens the auditorium in Navajo, that big thing that they have in Navajo is from him. And so he did a lot for Sonora.
Did he have money from the federal government, from Mexico? Or
no, from before, just to be part from Mexico. Now it's kind of different. The administration, I mean, for culture from Mexico, they cut the budget. They are trying to make people to do by ourselves and create things, and I think it's okay. Form associations to bring money to do things, or they're trying to make people work really on looking around and get what they want to promote activity. I'm not sure if it's okay, but I like it because it makes people open their minds and do things.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. I took two classes with Catherine. I had a drawing class and a state class, and there was no charge.
Oh, no.
It was
Yeah.
wonderful. And there were children and adults. It was amazing.
Yeah, there are a lot of people like Kathy. I mean, we appreciate Kathy also because she gives her time to do marvelous things in town, like painting, and she keeps good relationship with artists, local artists. And we really thank you. That's the way we work in the museum. I mean, we are looking for supports and voluntary people to work. I don't know, Messi is going to do the same thing, I think so. She's very brilliant. And she's really strong. I'm not so strong, she's very strong. It's like her mama.